Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mike, and welcome to the first installment of what I like to call underrated guitar players. Yeah. So basically, what this is going to be is what it sounds like. It's going to be a list of guitar players that I've really listened to a lot growing up over the years. Thought they had really cool parts, even though they were more like maybe in the background, or the band was overshadowed by either the lead singer or the songs. But no one really ever dived into like the guitar styles of the actual guitar players. So I'm going to be talking about those. Okay, so the first guitarist I'm going to put on the list are actually two. This comes from one of my favorite bands that I listened to growing up. Their debut album is one of my favorite albums of all time, and it still is. And they're both killer guitar players, and that is from the Gin Blossoms, one of my favorite bands ever. And that is Jesse Valenzuela and, of course, Scott Johnson. They're both lead, they're both rhythm, and they do awesome stuff. So let's talk about them a little bit. So like I said, the best thing about these two guys is like everything, right? So they're both killer lead players. So if you ever seen them live, which I have a few times, I'll talk about that in a second. They're always, changing their lead and rhythm parts, and they share solos, so they're doing awesome stuff. They have these complementary tones, which are pretty much all like boutique amplifiers or Fender amps or whatever, and just an array of different guitars. And you can tell these guys love their gear because, you'll see a Tele, you'll see a Strat come out, you see like a hollow body. And then on top of that, they're sharing the parts. So most guitarists do like a lead rhythm, and that's it. It's kind of like, eh. But in this band, which is really cool, kind of like Pearl Jam, is they do a lot of sharing of stuff. Probably more so than any band I've listened to quite a lot. The second thing really cool about these guys is that they have completely different stage personas. So you got Jesse, who's kind of like the cool, reserved, I'm going to rip some leads here, I'm going to play some rhythm there. Kind of in the background, he's doing a lot of backing vocals. He's just, the staple. He's killing it. He's great. And then you look over and you got Scott. He is this big smiley, jump to the front of the stage, rip a solo, doing the poses. I mean, this guy is all over the place. Super cool. So you got two, points of vision when you're seeing them or listening to them. And there's no way I could tell you who plays what on the album. Mostly I'm talking about New Miserable Experience as the reference point. But live, you can see exactly how they split these parts up, and it's sick. And then you throw Robin in there sometimes on guitar, and you have this like epic sound going on, which is phenomenal. All right, so there's two really big standout things I want to talk about. Number one is the New Miserable Experience album. If you have never heard it or you haven't heard it in a while, I recommend you go pick it up and listen to it from a guitar perspective because it got some really cool stuff on it. I'm going to bring up Hey Jealousy, even though it is their most known single, and I can demonstrate pretty much any song. There's really a part in this verse of this song where one of them is doing this kind of power chord thing while the other is doing this arpeggio on the top three strings, like E, B, and G. And it creates this sick verse part. And everybody in this band is great, so I don't think I'm leaving them out. Like I said, I'm just focused on these two guys. Another great one on the album is 29. It's like a ballad where they do another great lead and rhythm thing going on, which is phenomenal. I highly recommend checking out those two tracks in particular, but also listen to the entire album because you're going to find something you really like, and it's going to probably be the whole album. Okay, and finally, like I said, we're talking about the live stuff. I've seen them in Epcot in Disney. 2 shows in one day. That's during the, I think it was the Eat to the Beat, where bands come and they play for, I believe, like a couple of dates. So, of course, I was there with the Gin Blossoms. I was singing every word. I saw both shows. Their energy was incredible. And then I saw them again at House of Blues in Disney at the 25-year anniversary tour for New Miserable Experience. And they played the whole thing. Then they came back and played all the hits at the end. And these guys must just practice every day or whatnot. And they gig so much, but they sound fantastic. So, and I'm talking about the vocals sound great, the guitars sound great, all the songs sound great, their energy is insane. So I don't know what they were doing back in like 93 or the 90s, what their tours were like. I've seen some shows, but I mean, dude, they got the craft down. It's just sick. So anyways, shout out to Jesse and Scott. If you guys check out this video, I hope I did you some justice and mentioned the parts. And if I forgot anything, it's probably a lot because you guys are great. And let me know if you're a Gin Blossoms fan and if you agree with me what I'm saying. And as far as the underrated part or slept on guitarists, there's probably been interviewed before back then, but I've never really heard a lot of people talk about the Gin Blossoms guitarists. They'll talk about the songs, but they'll never talk about like, hey, Jesse Valenzuela or Scott Johnson, you guys are killing it. Look at this little lead here, look at this part here. So I just want to bring some attention to them because they've always been a big influence for me and continue to be. So thank you guys, and thanks for the great music. And to everyone else, I'll see you guys soon. Peace.